All right. Hey, guys. Thanks for joining us tonight. We kind of did a little bit of a twist and moved the team call to Monday night because a bunch of us are leaving early on Wednesday morning and kind of getting ready for Summit and everything. But I totally wanted to do a call, and Amanda volunteered because she had a really great topic she wanted to talk about. But before Amanda talks tonight, I just wanted to remind you guys of a couple of things. Country Heat, obviously, is coming out on Thursday. If this is like your first launch, meaning like the first time like you've been a coach and we've launched a program, it gets a little bit wacky just because everyone's like, is it up yet? Can we order? Can we order? Can we order? And then like someone will say yes. And then it's like, I can't see it on my end. Best tip is be patient. It will come up. So Thursday night is when the challenge packs are going to come up. Again, tell people Thursday night because it's California time that Beachbody runs on, and sometimes they have to just kind of mess around with the websites a little bit just to get the link correct. So tell people Thursday night for the challenge packs, and then for the base and deluxe kits, that will be Friday night. So just be really patient with that, and everything will work out. I'm just going to share my screen for a second. If you have any questions, obviously you can ask, but always just go to the FAQ in your Coach Online office. Really easy. You just go down to the bottom of the screen, click FAQ right down here, and then this screen will pop up. And then you'll see right here, country launch details. You click on that, and then you'll get all this awesome information telling you the length of the program, the workout lengths, and some of the workouts are actually like 22, 25 minutes. There's only like one or two that are actually like a full 30 minutes. So it's actually a lot, some of them are shorter than 30 minutes. It'll tell you, you come a little bit further down, like the prices of everything, prices for a regular customer, a club member, for a coach, because remember, we still get that 25% discount. And then if you like just click around, like it'll tell you like what's in like the programs, like exactly what workouts people get, what comes with it, like with the containers and everything like that. What's the difference between the base and the deluxe? Just click this next one here, and it'll pop up. Oh, no, that's the songs. If you want a song list, it's in there too. But just click around and you'll get all the information that you need. And a really cool thing that they actually just came up with, and I just saw this when I was messing around, is they heard our feedback, and now customers can change their coach right through here. So they don't need to call, email, or chat anymore, or call up. They can just go right here and then I guess just fill out the information, and they can change to you as a coach. So that's something that's really new. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys saw that. Mm-hmm. I think that's it for announcements. So Amanda came to me saying that she wanted to do a team call. And I was like, heck yes. When Amanda became a coach, she like just dove right into this. And I believe you hit Success Club almost every single month. Mm-hmm. Right? Yep. Yeah. Like she was just a firecracker, and she didn't hesitate. She just kind of went all in. And I think that just speaks volume for Amanda and just her character. Like, I just love how much heart and passion she puts into coaching. And I know that she's going to give us a lot of great information. And she's coming to Summit, so I get to meet her finally. So, yeah. Amanda, you can go on and take over, girl.
All right. Well, I am going to figure out how to share my screen here because I put together a PowerPoint.
Right at the bottom, like bring your arrow down and it'll say share screen. It's like the third one in.
Oh, yep. Okay. Sweet. All right. Let's see here. All right. Can you see this? And hear me? Good? Okay. All right. Well, like heaven forbid I not put something together just to keep my mind and my mind organized and make sure that I'm not forgetting about some of the things that I want to share. And so I got, like Rose said, I got started about a year ago, and I'll just quick share my story and go from there. But of course, when I first signed up, I was like, absolutely not. I'm not going to coach. And it took me, maybe like a solid 3 or 4 weeks to change my mind. And then I was like, okay, well, I got to figure out this posting thing and get over being nervous about putting myself out there in the big bad world and get going with the challenge group. And so, I wanted to share this, I guess, just because it's taken a lot of trial and error, but I feel like things are working. So if any of these things can work for you too, I'll happily share like everything that I've got tonight. And you're welcome to make it your own. And there may be some things in there, of course, that, I have used in a combination from other people on that too. So if some of it looks familiar, it's certainly not all original, but I've definitely tweaked it and made it my own. So before I dive into the challenge group stuff, I wanted to talk a little bit about mindset. And part of this, I work at a college and we talk about mindset a lot, and, all these kids who, struggle academically and whatnot, and kind of how to help them get over that. And I think it's so applicable to everything we do as a coach and everything we're asking our challengers to do. And so I just wanted to share this and kind of have us all think about this a little bit. And perhaps you already are, but there are so many opportunities to compare ourselves to each other and to some of the coaches that we follow that we are learning from, right? And so I always try to look at it with a growth mindset, that if something doesn't work out, move on. We can learn anything if we put our mind to it. If we try hard, we can succeed. This coaching thing isn't something that we're necessarily born knowing we want to do, right? I think most of us probably had no idea that this was exactly what we wanted to be doing. And it's a lot of trial and error. So, just kind of like always keeping our mind straight with why we're doing this, moving on when we're struggling with things. Like right now, I'm going to tell you, like I have been inviting more than I have ever invited before in my life. And I'm still at 0 for Success Club. And maybe I shouldn't start the call off with that, but that's true. But I'm going to tell you, I've got like all of these people that are right on the cusp, and some people who are waiting for Country Heat. So I'm going to finish the month strong, and part of that battle this month has been just making sure that I'm keeping that positive mindset and knowing that all of these steps and all of this hard work, this consistency, like Summer Tucker had said, that I'm putting in every single day will work, right? And then I will be able to help people this month. So just wanted to share this. And this is something, like I said, that I think about as a coach, but I also share this specific image with my challenge groups, because so much of what we're doing when we're tackling health and fitness and all of that, it is mental, right? And if we struggle or get struck down for a day, it's about getting back up, right? It's about failing forward and keep moving on. So just wanted to kind of set the tone for that. And that leads me right into the next thing. So, when we talk about like our personal brand as a coach, and we talk about the fact that people are following us, right? That we are what they're signing up for. Anybody can do a program, anybody can read a program guide, but it's you, right? It's you who they have been following and who they are trusting to help them on this journey and to teach them, the tips and the tools and share recipes and all of those good things that we do. So when I think about challenge groups, it starts with you, right? It starts with me as a coach. And so every single month, I feel like I kind of hit the reset button and I reevaluate where I'm at in the challenge groups. And maybe I'm overthinking, but it's working. So I'm going to keep doing it. So, I think like, what kind of coach do you want to be, right? Like when you think about coaching, it's not about this part, especially is not about the number of challenge packs you sell. It's about how you want to commit to people, how you want to be consistent in your groups, how you want to inspire people and to get them going and to keep them going, more importantly. So I don't know if anybody else has done this, but I actually like wrote out what my coaching philosophy was right away, because I always wanted to keep centered and focused on why I was doing this. Like I never wanted it to be only about that Success Club point or only about that number. And, you know, people struggle with this, right? And if you, like so many of us, right, I think we're in it for the right reasons. And I'm so impressed by this team. And I think it's just important to keep that focus on the heart of it, right? On helping people, on helping them overcome and follow through. So if you haven't taken a minute just to jot down, like, I guess it's kind of your why. I guess I look at the why, like why I'm doing this is more what benefits me, but my coaching philosophy is how I want to help people and what I'm willing to commit to do and the kind of leader that I want to be for them, that kind of makes up that philosophy. So, you know, going into a challenge group, I'm going to talk specifically about a prep week, but how you want to set the tone for that group, it literally sets the tone for the whole thing. So I often start setting that tone for the group as soon as I start having conversations with people. And I'm pretty real about it, you know, and sometimes people will say, well, you know, is that it? Or tell me the nitty gritty. And I'm like, I'm going to tell you, like, that first workout that you do, you will be sore because you are making your body do things that you have not made it do in a while. So just be prepared for that, right? Like be real with them and make sure that, you know, not only are they mentally preparing for that challenge, but they also know that you are going to be the person who takes them through the rest of it. Like you're with them every step of the way. So, you know, when they're struggling and when they're sore, you're going to be the one who's still cheering them on, so that they can work through that. I'm also pretty clear with my expectations right up front. So when people say, you know, what's a challenge group? And I can't, it was like a week or two that people were talking about their spiel for what's a challenge group. And in mine, I include that they need to participate, right? Like we can provide this group and we can share all of these resources, but it's up to them to actually use the group. And I tell them, and I actually reinforce it once we get going with the challenge group. But I share with them, like, minimum, you're going to be expected to post in this group 2 to 3 times a week, minimum. Preference, daily. Minimum, 2 to 3 times a week. And they do. And so the reason I bring that up is I've also heard a lot of coaches say, you know, my groups are so quiet, or, you know, people aren't really talking, or it's just like crickets. And so I'm very clear with them right when they sign up. This is what I'm hoping to see you do. This is how you're going to get the most out of the group, and kind of turn it back onto them, right? So that they know that they have a part in this. And it's not just me, right, who can do it for them. I can't do that for them. But they know what's going to be expected of them as a challenger in one of my groups. With that, how do you follow up and hold people accountable? So, you know, what if they're not following through on their end, right? Or they've gone kind of radio silent. That's where some personal follow-up comes in. And for me, what I do is I'll text them, I'll shoot them a message on Facebook, shoot them an email, you know, and just say, hey, you know, I haven't seen you in the group in a little while. You know, how's everything going? Do you have any questions? How can I be helpful? You know, and just kind of reinforce, like, I know you can do this. This is what you signed up for. Are you still in? And a lot of times they come back and they're like, oh my gosh, I've just had a crazy couple of days. Thanks so much for reaching out. And then it brings them back around, and then they start doing it again. And it does take a little bit of time, but it's a little bit of time. Like it's like 10 seconds, right? 15 seconds to like shoot out a quick message. And if I'm doing that with a few people, I, you know, might tailor it a little bit, but I pretty much use the same message. So that accountability piece, right, it's pretty big. That's what they sign up for, is that accountability. So the other thing I think that's important as you're going into like kind of how you want to start these groups is who do you want to invite into your group? And I'm not sure that this is the perfect way, and I'm not sure that this is going to be super long-term sustainable for me, but for right now, I have both brand new people in my groups and I have returners in my groups. I mean, I have some people who've been in my groups and who have been actively participating since like November, right? And they're going strong, and I'm not going to kick them out because they have become like these natural leaders in my groups. And I know a lot of coaches run it different ways. But it's just been working for me. So, so just throwing that out, like, you might want to think about what's going to work for you. It might be some trial and error, but that's worked for me, and I'm going to keep going with it as long as it's working, and then, readjust when the time comes that I need to do that. Okay, so logistics. I've used both Facebook and the Beachbody app, and I like them both. I actually really loved the Beachbody app. I haven't had as many people use the app as they've used Facebook. So I've pretty much reverted back to Facebook for the most part. I do have sometimes, like in the months where I run 2 groups, I'll run one on Facebook and one on the Beachbody app. But if you haven't used the Beachbody app, I absolutely recommend it. I love that people can check off when they've done their workout and had their Shakeology. I love that they see the coach posts first, because I think we all spend a lot of time, right on that content. And I mean, on Facebook, it'll show you how many views it has. But people aren't always interacting with that. So I love that I know when they log into the app that they're going to see what I want them to see that day. So, that's not a perfect thing. Sometimes it just depends on the group a little bit. But it has been helpful when I've had people who, shocking, wait for it, aren't on Facebook. I mean, I feel like I run everything on Facebook. So I'm like, wait a minute, what? You don't have Facebook? And so I'll continue it as long as they want to keep doing that. But, when they're falling off, or if they're like, traveling or whatever, then I haven't run the app groups. But the Beachbody app rocks. You can set things up. You can plan your posts ahead just like you would on Hootsuite, which I'll chat about a little bit. But Facebook, I find, at least for the majority, like 95% of the people that I have worked with, they like Facebook. They're on it anyway, so it's easier for them. They're not going into something else to check something else. They're already in it, so it's easy to keep them connected. So personal preference, I don't know if other people have tried it and have a preference, but definitely give it a try if you haven't yet, because it's pretty sweet. And then you can kind of stalk them down too and see who's checking in, even if they're not posting it in the group. So when I do a Facebook group, in the files section, usually preload up these things. So I share a menu and a grocery list, and I know that some of the recipes that I have in mind have come from our group, whatever's on the team page, but I've added a whole bunch too, so I'm happy to upload my version of it that I'm using. I actually have like a family-friendly one that has the mac and cheese recipe in it, because my kids eat that. But just something to get them started, and I don't actually have all the container counts in there, because I want them to use that as an opportunity to learn. But it is a clean eating menus and grocery list, just to take the guesswork out for people. It gives them something to start with, because I think that people, at least in my groups, people are totally overwhelmed by the food and actually planning their meals and getting everything going. So we spend a lot of time on that and share a lot of recipes. I have created a menu planner, which I had shared on the team page a little while ago, and I'd done it specifically for the 22-minute hardcore, but I kind of backed it up and just made it a general Beachbody container menu tally planner thing. And I actually just, when I did the ultimate reset, holy menu planning, if you've not done that yet, I'm telling you, that is like taking it to like crazy degrees, right? Like I plotted out every single thing I put in my mouth. And it was neat, because then I ate that. I didn't eat the things that weren't on the list. So I'm like, they might be onto something here. That's probably one of the best things I took away from the ultimate reset is, when I was about to go grab, something off my kid's plate, which is a terrible habit and an easy habit. I was just more conscious of it. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not written down. So now that's how I do my menu planning. And, and I share that with the group, and I'll happily share that with you guys. But I tell them, I'm like, just write down your dinner, right? Like if menu planning is totally overwhelming, plan out your dinners for the week so that you have all the groceries that you need for that, and then back it up, right? So, make sure you'll have leftovers for lunch and things like that, but just start with the dinners and back it up each day so that you can check off all of your containers and what you need to eat. I tend to undereat even still. That's the thing that I have the hardest part, the biggest problem with. And that's like when I plan that out, that's the only way that I can get that in. And, so I'm just real with them, and I share that I struggle with that too still. But that's a tool that is used and is helpful. I put the Shakeology ingredients in there right away. Not every single person is on Shakeology or drinking Shakeology, but I'm telling you, I have converts, and it's awesome. In fact, I have this person who's been in my group for like 3 months, and finally yesterday she's like, "Hey, I heard something, or I read something that you posted that Shakeology helps curb cravings. Do you think I could get a sample of that?" And I was like, yes, you can have a sample. Do you want 3 samples? Like, what do you want? So it was pretty funny, but I have the ingredients right in there, and I post about those things just because I want people to know what they're drinking, right? I mean, it goes kind of all across the board. Like some people who drink it because I do, and that's it. That's enough for them. Like they just trust me and know that I'm drinking and eating good things. And then I have other people who are like, excuse me, could you please send me the ingredients and what they do for my body? And so I just put that right out there so they know exactly, what they're doing. And I think it kind of reinforces the value piece for them. And then the container cheat sheet. So I just kind of preload all those things in and then direct them to those as resources. All right. Other logistical piece, Hootsuite, which I actually think is really difficult to figure out how to connect up the group that you want to post to initially. But it's worth YouTubing that up and finding the tutorial video like I had to, because once you figure it out, it is gold. I'm going to plot out literally everything for while I'm gone at Summit, because while I'll keep posting in the group, when we work out and what I'm eating and all that stuff, I want to make sure that they see something that from me the first thing when they wake up every day. I mean, usually I set those to post in the group by 5:30 a.m. And my thought process on that is that, one, I want to be consistent, right? I want them to know that I am starting the day with them and I am in it with them every single day. A lot of times that's with my workout, but when I'm traveling, it's a little bit harder. So I post in there just so that it's fresh in their mind. And if anybody wakes up, checks their phone before they even get out of bed, and maybe they're teetering between how am I going to start this day? Am I going to get up and work out? Am I going to lay here a little bit longer? I feel like if that's there and ready for them, it might be the thing that helps them get up and get going with it. I'm going to share, so this is something, I started a calendar, and it kind of was inspired by our Team Arise calendar. But I'm like, hey, I find this so helpful, and my life, like many, is a little busy. So it helps me remember and sort of plot out what I'm going to do in my challenge groups. And it gives them something to look forward to. And it's funny because I was a day late on a challenge, and they're like, hey, I thought we were going to have a mini challenge yesterday. And I'm like, okay, we'll do it today, and I'll give 2 prizes. So it's something so that they know, what to expect. And again, it's just a really clear line of communication, both to keep me on track and to keep them, looking forward to things that are coming up. And then I'll also share my Google Doc for my challenge. And I know we have a few other ones uploaded into the group. And I, at this point, don't always follow it exactly to a T. Sometimes I shift things around a little bit, depending on the group. I mean, kind of whatever public speaking, working with people one-on-one is know your audience, right? And so I have that there to rely back on, but it's flexible. So you're welcome to make that your own too. All right. So prep week. When I first started doing challenge groups, I did not do a prep week. I did like a prep 2 days, and then tried basically to pack everything in too short of an amount of time. Like it just didn't work. And then I found that a lot of that was spilling over into the first week, and I wasn't addressing questions that people had in a very proactive way. And so this sort of was born out of necessity, but also once I started seeing some good examples of what other people do, I'm like, well, yeah, that makes sense. May as well just make it a whole week long and ease everybody into it. And it also bought me a little bit of time with getting everybody their packages in the mail. So, for the procrastinators that are like, no, I'm not going to, get that package until like the very last second, it buys them a week essentially to start prepping, even though they don't have their challenge pack on their doorstep quite yet. But I think, for prep week, it goes back to that mindset thing, right? Like, so I talk about what I shared with you guys, that growth mindset, and even as a challenger, being willing to fail forward, because not every day is going to be perfect. And we're striving for progress, not for perfection. We're changing habits, doing small things every single day that add up over time. It's not going to be an instant, overnight, quick fix type of thing. So we kind of prep I think I say like, we're going to prepare our minds and our kitchens for success. And then I have them set goals, and I actually have, for that, a little survey, that I did just on a Google Doc, because then I can export that into an Excel spreadsheet, and it makes it a lot easier for me to follow up with them, which I do usually midway through the group, or maybe after the second full week, just to say, hey, how is this going? Let's do a check-in. Like, this is what you committed to this month. How do you feel like it's going? What can I be helpful with? What do you want to do differently this week to end strong? And it's like a quick 3-question thing that I've got in my challenge group thing that I'll share with you all too. And that kind of goes with the accountability thing. I let them know that I'm going to be following up with them and holding them accountable to the things that they said they would do. And then making sure that they have the tools for success. And, it's so, I think sometimes we get into it, right? And when we're doing this lifestyle, we forget that there are people that this is still so new to. And if you really stop and think back to when you first started this, right? You're like, clean eating, like, what the heck is that? Like, why can't I use a packet of something that has all this sodium and things I can't pronounce in it? And, people aren't used to cooking that way. And I live in Wisconsin, which you can probably tell from how I talk. Though I'm not from here, people pick on me for it. It's okay. I'm embracing it. But, it's I totally lost my train of thought now that I'm on this. Oh, yeah. So my sister-in-law sends me this recipe the other day, and it's like cream of something soup and, salt and blah, 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 and a packet of this and that. And I was like, I am not eating that. You're crazy, lady. So I totally fixed it up, right? And shared it with my challengers, and it was so good. I was working on that post. So take a peek for it and look for it tonight. It's a zucchini pizza casserole. It was so good. But people have to start somewhere. And at least out here, the thought of not having a cream of chicken, mushroom, celery, whatever soup in their cupboard is the emoji with the big eyes, right? That's what it's like in Wisconsin. Don't take away my gravy mix and my cream of soup. So, it's shifting that a little bit and helping them understand that real food tastes good, and it's exciting to try new things. And I've already done a lot of the work for them. So just, like I said, using that prep week to help them start to introduce them to this new way of life that's going to feel really foreign and uncomfortable and hard because they're not used to it. So this is the calendar that I put together for July to share with my group. And I'll just walk through it. So Challenge Group Prep Week always starts on a Monday for me. And I'll usually like post like a welcome message or something on that Sunday and get everybody in the group and whatnot. But we really kick things off on this. Our group this month was called the Firecracker Challenge Group because, you know, it started on the 4th of July. So I'm not always that clever, but that one worked out okay. So throughout that week, I have all these posts and then a reminder that their goals were due. And I followed up and I reminded them again that day. And I think I probably had 19 people, I think it was, submit goals, which I thought was huge. Like I couldn't even believe it, actually. I'm like, you know, maybe 8 people will do this, you know, like you're faithful every day. I'm going to post everything I'm doing every day. But 19 people, like, and that just showed me, because that's the first time I did a Google Doc was this month. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like people want this accountability. So like, I gotcha. We're going to do that. So picks and measurements on that first Saturday, and then meal prep. And then kind of like map out like what we're doing for the week, right? So this buddies thing, I call it the beach buddies, which is so corny, but whatever. We're still kind of like flushing that one out a little bit, but I wanted to give people a little bit of extra accountability. So if they wanted to have like a partner, right? It could be me, like it's both like a 5 a.m. wake up call thing, or it can be somebody else in the group if they want to just partner up with somebody that maybe they have something in common with. Like I've got a few teachers in the group right now that are really struggling with the lack of structure in their schedule. And so they're like kind of all teaming up and like getting through the summer together. So that's actually worked out kind of cool. And then the mini challenges, oh my golly, like whatever is striking me that day, I do. This last one, sometimes it'll be, all right, post your workouts if half of the people in the group, and right now I've got like 40 people in my group. So I said, if half of you post your workouts today or a check-in at least, I'll raffle out, or I'll send out Energize samples or Shakeology, like a Shakeology sample, and I'll raffle off for that. And people were like, we need 3 more people who didn't do their workout yet. And I was like, yeah, go, yeah, like peer pressure at its finest. So we did that, and it worked out really well. And another one was, post a meal that you're having today. That was another mini challenge. And for everybody who posts their healthy meal, your name will go in a hat. And I sent out a veggetti, that like zucchini squash spiralizer thing. So just like little things like that. It's not big prizes or anything, but it really gets participation going. And I like to do that in the first week because it sets the tone for the rest. So week 2, I do a challenger of the week, or a challenger of the day is what it should say there. And so I post out and say, okay, who wants to be a challenger of the day? For everybody who takes a day, you will get in a raffle. And I actually have been giving out a sample performance line pack. It's a bigger prize, but what I'm asking them to do is basically be a coach for the day, right? So, here's this like planting the seed moment too, because I need to build my team. Like that is what I need to do right now. And so it's kind of a fun way for them to try it on for a day. And so I ask them to either post what they're eating throughout the day or a collage of what they're eating. I ask them to make sure they post their workout and sweaty selfie. And then I ask them to post one thing that inspires or motivates them. And it's really cool, to see what they do, what they come up with. And so it's, essentially 7 days. So you only have 7 people. So I'm like, hey, if you want to do this, sign up right away, because when we're out of days of the week, we're out of days of the week. And it's been going really, really well. And then I do, and like I said, I've done the performance line pack for that. And I haven't done it. I haven't had enough repeat people do that's been an issue, and they really like trying that out. And And a lot of people are like digging the energized from that too. So that's exciting that they are finding stuff that they like. And then I have in week 3 a bigger challenge, and this is similar to I think what other people do, and it's more of a point system, which to be perfectly honest, like I'm always so annoyed when I have to tally the points at the end, but they like it, right? And every time I do it, I'm like, tally those points every day, and I never do, and I should, and I don't, and maybe I will next time. But, it's like a point for posting your Shakeology recipe, your healthy meal, your sweaty selfie, motivational, post your testimonial, tag me, that type of thing. And they have a lot of fun with that as well. And at that point, because we've already had the mini challenges and we've already had people stepping up to like share their day, they're like, I am in it. I have got my eye on the prize. And usually I have really good participation for that. So although this is the first time that I've done the monthly calendar, I'm going to keep doing that because it really didn't take that long to put together. And I think it was helpful for all of us to stay on track and have some fun. So I think I just told you all of those things. The comments and likes part of it. So I try to like and or comment pretty much on every single thing. And sometimes it's the end of the night when I'm catching up on that. But it kind of goes back to that consistency thing, right? Like I want to make sure that they know I'm in it with them and I'm watching what they're doing and, that they are getting some love on their stuff. So this is the last slide, I promise. I feel like I haven't taken a breath. I don't even know what time it is, but sorry if I'm being long-winded. Okay, doing okay. So other stuff. So what has happened from having a lot of the same people continue through is like I'm creating a community in this challenge group, and that has been so cool to see. I mean, I think like all of us, right? Like I have people from high school, from college, from grad school, from living in New York State, living in Wisconsin. I mean, people from every single part of my life in these groups, and they're like connecting with each other. And I have one free lead who has been like crazy active, and she and like this lady I know from church here in Wisconsin, they are like besties and they have never met. It's really cool. And I feel like they will be lifetime people now. Like they love each other. Oh, sorry. This is what happens when I sequester myself in my room so that my kids don't scream at me. But people, they want to feel like they're part of something, right? And so I always refer to them as my team and my challengers, and they feel like they're part of something. And I think that's pretty sweet. Knowing your people and helping them get to know each other. So I don't know how this came to be, but I was like, man, like at one point I posted this thing in our group. I'm like, hey, we spend a lot of time together. Like, why don't we today, just for fun, share like what you like to do in the summertime and maybe a fun fact that I don't know about you, and I'll start. And so I'm like, hey, did you know that I could raise one eyebrow? Because I can, and it was hilarious to see, like, if you throw yourself out there and you're a little bit vulnerable or goofy, they respond in kind, and that helped them get to know each other or find out things that they had in common. And that has led into different conversations in our group, which is pretty cool. And I think, just like I'm so impressed. Like I love following people on our team on Facebook because it's just cool to see people putting themselves out there. And, and I think about that in my group too. Like sometimes I have to remind myself that, whatever I'm putting out there on Facebook, as far as like whenever I'm feeling vulnerable or anything like that, like I have to give that to my group too, because I can't expect them to give something that I'm not willing to give them. Right. So just something to keep in mind is, don't forget to do that with your group, because it's not all positive. It's not all easy. It's not all like go fight the fight every day. And they need to see that sometimes I struggle too, and that's okay, because it's all about what you do the next day. Like I mentioned when I was talking about kind of my Google Doc that I have, I will adjust according to the feel of the group. So last week I have been calling it our summer slump. That's probably one of the first times where we've had a few days where I'm like, hey, where's everybody? Like, are you here? Cricket, cricket. And so I posted some stuff, and then finally I'm like, all right, you guys, like, this is enough. Like, summer slump is over. And at that point, everybody's like, oh, I know, I've been struggling so much this week. And then they all started chiming in, and it was just a tough week for them. But I had to, watch what they weren't doing, and then like, okay, like, let's rally the troops and get going. So like I mentioned, partnering with your natural leaders too. Like, I have a couple people, they don't want to coach. I've asked them like 15 times because they'd be so good. And they just aren't there, right? Maybe someday they will be there. They're not there right now. But what they've done is essentially they've become natural leaders in our group. And so they're the ones who, are commenting on other people's things. And sometimes I'll like just send them a fun note or a fun prize and just thank them for their leadership in the group, because, they can do something different than what I can as the coach sometimes, right? Like when it's a peer-to-peer thing, it's different than me, trying to lead the charge and tell them what they need to do. Always ask before you judge. And I say this one because when I first got started, I was like all hurt that people weren't participating. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Why aren't you doing this? And I would like get upset, and I wouldn't actually like say that in the group or anything, but my husband heard a lot of it. Like, I don't know what they're doing. Like, why the heck aren't they participating? And, there were times then that I like took a deep breath, took a step back, and I reached out to them. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Is everything okay? And like, oh, we had a death in the family, or like some big stuff. I had one person like who got sick and she's got cancer now, and that's terrible. And you never want to be so harsh, right? That we forget that people do have lives, right? Like they've committed to this thing, but like sometimes there's real stuff that comes up that really hijacks this. So it was just a good reminder, I think, to just ask right before you start like placing blame and like thinking that people are just slacking off, because sometimes that's not the case. And sometimes it is. And that's when they usually like are like, yeah, no, I'm slacking off. Thanks for reaching out. And then, so I just think like overall it's mentally preparing people and providing real, solid information and tools for success. We're educating, we're motivating, we're having some fun. You can only help the willing. I mean, there are people who've gotten this stuff and they don't do it. And, I feel like there's only so much reaching out that you can do. And then you just have to like move on, right? And don't waste your time trying to get the people who aren't willing to do anything to do something, right? Like that's got to come from them. Spend the time on the people who are really rocking it and who are responding and who are using the groups and you as a coach as they should be. And then the last piece is just have some fun with it. We're silly and we're goofy, and it's okay for them to see that, sometimes we look like fools when we try new workout programs called Country Heat and we can't really dance very well. And so that's okay. And if they can't dance, they can try really hard like me. So that's the last piece of it. That's, I think, pretty much, that's all I have for you guys tonight, but happy to answer any questions that people might have if we want to do that. And, if there's anything that you want to share that's worked really well in your groups, I think that's really, this is a fun opportunity to hear about that.
That was awesome. I just love organization and I love PowerPoint. So that was like so good for me. I love that. That was really, really great. So I actually wrote down a bunch of notes. So everything that you talked about that you were going to share that in our page. So like the mindset picture, like your calendar, your Google group, and all the other stuff that you said you were going to share. Definitely share that in our group. the first picture that you showed with the personal develop or like the personal growth versus whatever the other one was, I think like I always switch it kind of over to like the coaching aspect. Yeah, the fixed mindset is like people will say that they're doing personal development, but they're not actually growing. Like they're not, they're reading it, but they're still stuck on that fixed mindset and thinking that way. And they're not actually going into that growth mode. So I really, really like that picture. That was great. Setting the tone for challenge groups. I know I'm totally guilty of this. Even like in June, I just had a group that, I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it. I don't know if it was, I mean, it was me because I wasn't feeling it. So I had like low participation, and like me, Kirsten, and a couple of the other coaches, we have like a 21-day fix one going now, and it's been really good. Like a lot of people are participating. And I think because like I was actually excited for this one for some reason. So I think if you change your mindset and you're excited for the group, then that's just going to kind of funnel right through to your challengers. And I always get coaches asking me like, what do I post in my challenge groups? Like obviously we have the group formats that you can follow in the team page, but ask like, what would inspire you? What would you want to see? Like, would you want to see meals, what they're eating? Like, that's what I would want to see. Like, if I'm new at this, like, I want to know what you're eating every single day. So that's what I post in my group. Like, I like learning about things. So I always post about kind of Shakeology and the nutrition and, you know, what the ingredients mean. And I play a game with that. And I tell them, all right, you get 1 point for, you know, saying Shakeology has yakun root and what does it do for your body? So I think that's really important. So I have a couple questions. When you set up like your expectations and you're telling them like, all right, you have to minimum comment, you know, or post 3 times in the group, you know, minimum. Do you say that like after they purchase, or like how do you kind of incorporate that?
Yeah. So when I'm talking to them initially, I just really push participation, you know, and talk about like, you know, if you want to get the most out of this group, you need to use the group. And this is how you use it. You share what you're doing. And if you are questioning whether or not you would share what you're eating, maybe you should think twice about what you're eating, right? Like use that as an accountability tool. And then, once we're in, it's like one of the very first posts that I do. It's kind of like tips for success. And one of those in there is like, I'm expecting that you're going to post in here 2 to 3 times per week minimum, preferably like every day, right? Like that would be awesome. Post something every day, a check-in. But, you know, I always say, you know, use this group. This is what you're in it for. Use the group. So I guess it's kind of like a softer like participation message at first. And then I kind of dive into like, I want to see this 2 to 3 times a week. And it's not like I tally it or anything, but if people go like a whole week without doing anything, then that's a flag for me to follow up with them.
Cool. And then your challenge group calendar, like what a brilliant idea. That was like, duh, like why didn't we all think of that? That was so good. So for your Transformation Tuesday, what do you have them do?
I usually share a transformation.
Okay. And then for like the Flex Fridays, you just do Flex Fridays. Do they get points for that, or kind of just depends?
Yep. Kind of just depends on the day. You know, at that point, sometimes people are posting their before and afters because I've got people on different schedules right now, like especially if they've continued through, like they're not all new people. And so like we'll say like, you know, check out those guns or like, let's celebrate, you know, Jessica's, you know, transformation this week and, you know, show them off or whatnot. But usually for Transformation Tuesday, I'll either like sometimes if it's like when I'm doing mine, like I'll share my results or I'll share somebody from our team when everybody posted those. Or like I shared some of the stuff from like the Country Heat before and after when I was talking about Country Heat in my group.
Cool. And
something
then,
to
of
keep
course,
in
I think
mind.
the goal survey was another like brilliant thing you came up with. So for that, you do it before the group starts?
Yeah, I do that during prep week. I think it's Tuesday of prep work. We talk about goals, and then I give them till the end of that week and just post the Google link right in there.
And then do you have them like redo it like the second or third week? Or you haven't done that yet?
Nope. I don't have them redo it. Like basically at the beginning of the month, I have them set their goals for the month. And it's like, oh golly, like I should remember this. Let me see if I can get out of here because I'll share that. So prep week, here's what I say here. Yep. And this is like, you guys can see this, right? So this is what I say about participation, minimum 2 to 3 times per week. And then goal setting is the very next day. So I have them say your goal for this month, something you're willing to do every week to get there, every day to get there. And then I don't post that obviously in the group, but I keep it simple because I think when it gets too big, people are overwhelmed by it and they don't do it. So those are just the 3 things.
Cool. That is so good. What other questions? Oh, remembering where you came from. Remember like when you were first a challenger, and I kind of had to take myself back there too this week. I had a challenger of mine asking me, can I use the frozen veggies and put it in the microwave? I'm like, are you crazy? And I'm like, okay, hold on. Like, remember when you used to eat like raviolis every single night with spinach and think it was healthy? And I had to say, like, now, like 3.5 years later, like my nutrition is completely different than when I first started. So I have to kind of give people credit of where they're starting. And for her, frozen veggies might just be the next best thing from where she's starting, because where she's starting is really bad. So if frozen veggies is what she needs to do, then that's what she needs to do. So I have to remember myself when I first started too. I love the challenger of the day to post. So you ask them like who wants to do. Renee, do you want to ask? Is that what you're talking about? Sorry. All right. When I'm done asking, you got the floor. The challenger of the day post. So you ask them who wants to do the challenge of the day?
Yeah, who wants to be the challenger of the day?
And they volunteer.
Totally. And
you tell them they're going to get a prize.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I tell them, so we have 7 slots. So it's, not everybody can do it. You have to volunteer first. So I think there's a sense of urgency that comes from that. And then at the end of the week, like they know what they're working, it's that performance pack, sample pack that I give out from the performance line. And so they want it.
And you raffle it off to just one person?
So yeah, I put the 7 people who do it, I put them in their names in a hat, and then my daughter helps me pull their prize.
I was going to say 7 times the performance pack, that can get a little pricey.
I only do 1.
Yeah, 1 is doable. 7, that's cool.
Yep.
Cool. Fun fact Friday. I really like that one too. Or maybe, did I just make that one up? But you had like fun fact something.
Yeah. I don't remember. I have done fun facts, but I think it was just Flex Friday. It was on the calendar.
Oh, okay. I came up with the fun fact Friday.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because you say like some of the mini challenges have been about Shakeology ingredients, and I don't do that like every single time, but that's been one of my mini challenges. And then I, send 1 packet of Shakeology out as a prize.
So what do you ask them, or what do you say?
I ask them, I say, go find an ingredient from Shakeology and post or comment below with what it is and what it does for your body.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Really, really great information. All right. I'm going to unmute Renee. Can you unshare your screen? Because then I can.
Oh, yep. Sorry.
For 1 second. That's all right. Because I'm limited with my options here. Renee, where are you? All right, Renee, you got the floor.
Oh, it's thundering so bad. You're asking all the questions. I was like, yes, that's on my list. That's on my list. That's why I was getting excited. I just had a couple of questions. One about the challenge of the day that you brought up. What exactly are you asking them to do? I get it, like they have to volunteer. You pick 7. I love the prize idea. I love everything. But what is it you're asking of them to do? Like how many posts through the day, or what are they supposed to be doing?
So they basically are coaching for a day. You know, so it's kind of, that's what I meant when I said like it can be sort of a good
See what someone else would
trial run for them, right? Like, hey, you did such a great job. Have you ever considered coaching? You could totally run these groups. Like that's kind of like the conversation path. And so I just tell them that you need to post your meals throughout the day, like whatever you're eating, right? To share those ideas with the other people in the group. Your workout or / sweaty selfie, and then something that inspires or motivates you. And so like today, a girl in my group posted, she just reached out to me yesterday and she's like, hey, like I need some coaching. Do you have a minute? And I'm like, yeah, this is a first. Totally. I was totally jacked up about it. That was awesome. And she's like, well, I'm just struggling with, trying to perfect this. And then I feel like I fail, and then I fell off the wagon for a few days, blah, blah, blah. So we had this big conversation about like giving yourself the opportunity to fail and be okay with that and just move forward, right? Like it's okay to fail. And that's usually right where your success comes from. And so today she's the challenger of the day, and she posted, she's a teacher, has a brand new classroom in a brand new school that's like full of all these boxes, right? So she posted today about how every day is a blank slate. And it was this fantastic message about like, it's okay, right? That you can create every single day how you want it to be and blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, it was kind of cool. But yeah, so she posted her meals, she posted her workout, and she posted that kind of motivational thing for the day.
Okay. And then my other one was, you let challengers keep repeating. Like you don't send them to like a forever page. So I've only been doing this a little, obviously I'm like a super baby coach, but I'm like obsessed. So don't you eventually like repeat the same, like your write out you have? I mean, I know you change it up for this and that and you switch it up, but generally like if they've done it 4 times with you, they're going to know, oh, here she comes with her goal post. Like, do you feel that? Like I got to pull people out eventually.
Yeah. So I have worried about that too. And I basically, because I think it was Shannon Hutchins who was posting like, I'm running out of material, right? And I do not reinvent material. I just don't, because I let them know, I'm like, hey, listen, you are very welcome to stay in this group, but I'm going to tell you it's going to be a lot of the same stuff. And, I'm going to change it up a little bit. And I do, and partly for my own sake, right? Like, because I would get bored with it if it were the same all the time. But yeah, I mean, I just let them know, like, this is what you're in it for. But, if you think about it, and I've been thinking about this a lot lately because I feel like I'm like right on this cusp, right? It was so helpful when I was first getting started because I didn't have a lot of people, right? Like you have to build that. And so it was really nice to have that that continuity with some people, and they wanted to be in the group. And as a coach, like I feel like I need, like when they're committing with me, like I'm committing to them for more than a month. I don't want to kick them out after a month. It's so hard. It's so hard because now I've got like 40 people in the group and it's a lot. Yeah, I know. Right. And that's great. Like, that's so cool but not everybody is participating.
Like I set up like a forever fixed type of page or like, stuff like that. But now mine has like, the same 4 people in it. So
yeah.
Challenge groups, but I'm like, I feel like I'm going to have 2 going. I know that's what Danielle does. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. Like,
yeah,
group is different. Like some groups, you have somebody who's like a star and they post all the time, but we do kind of post the same material. And I want them to think it's like,
Yeah. Well, and I liked what Danielle was saying about, you know how she'll like run a challenge group in her forever group once in a while just to like get them like revved back up. And Rose, you've talked about like, you know, the comeback groups and things like that. And I don't know. I do struggle with that. Like, cause I feel like I'm at the point to like flip some people over, but the veterans are so helpful to the new people and they're so encouraging and they share ideas that like I hate to not have their leadership with the people who are just getting started.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I know. Okay. I was just wondering, I was like, ooh, she gets some stay. But they post and they're, yeah.
Yeah, if they're active, and I do ask them to re-up every month. So that's the other thing. Like some people do leave and then they'll come back. Not everybody has stayed continuously. But every single month I basically ask them to recommit to being in the group.
I feel like my people would want to keep going. Like a lot of them are new too. You know, it's not like they've been doing it that long. So they're kind of like, no, I'll do next month. I'll come with you next month. Are we doing it again?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and Jeff Hill on the National Wake Up Call, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago, was talking about like the time period it takes to make a habit, and it was like 60 some days. I don't know if you guys remember hearing that. And I was like, oh, okay, right. Like I feel like my first month doing the 21-day fix was a test run. Like I sucked a little bit. And it was like the second round that things like clicked and really worked. So like I actually now when I'm talking to people, I tell them, I'm like, I really want you to stick with me for 2 or 3 months because that's when it's really going to be a habit.
Okay. And then my other thing was, please tell me I can somehow find the stuff that you have. Like, will this be in the Team Arise page in a file? Yeah. The Google Doc thing, I'm working on that. I think I need a Google.
Yeah, I can. So Rose, maybe you can help me with that too after the call. Like I can post everything. I'll share whatever I've got. So it's an image, right? The calendar is an image. And then the Google Doc, I think I can just probably download and upload into the team page.
Yeah, I can talk to you afterwards how to
if you don't mind
everything.
Like I'd love to read it.
Oh, this is like a duplication business, right? So if what I'm using works for you, go for it.
Awesome.
And I just wanted to say too on that, what you guys were talking about with repeaters, like I don't have a forever group. It's like I'll kind of do like a comeback challenge group, like Amanda was saying, and I'll ask them to kind of recommit. But I think what comes along with those people those are repeat customers. So they're going to do 21-day fix, 21-day fix extreme, hammer and chisel, country heat, and I have a lot of repeat people doing country heat. And those, like, you want those repeat customers, right? Like, yeah, it's great to have a challenge pack, especially, if they're a discount coach, that's great. Just because they get a base pack doesn't mean that they're not valuable, that they can't be in your group or whatever. So kind of celebrate every person that stays, comes back, because you just never know. They might turn around and say they want to coach. They might have a referral for you. And every kind of bit that they go along, whether it's the same information or not, maybe it didn't click with them last time. Mm-hmm. Their mindset wasn't in the right place. So don't worry about the content part. Just tell them, be upfront, say it's going to be pretty much the same thing, but if you want to be committed, then I can definitely add you to my group. Mm-hmm. Or you can, continue on.
Yeah.
Got it. Awesome call.
Yeah. Anybody else for any questions or comments for Amanda? No? All right, before we go, I just wanted to let you guys know, like a couple of us, we're going to Summit, but for the rest of you that aren't, I know that feeling of being at home and seeing everyone at an event and it's like, dagger in your heart. But you guys are actually in a really good position because 25,000 coaches are going to be away and actually like being busy doing things. So this is the perfect time to kind of swoop in and like just be a rock star and get all your people set up for country heat ahead of time. And you're going to be at home, right? You're going to be nice and comfy, whereas I'm going to be like 110 degrees sweating and trying to like sign people up and like run to this conference and do this and do that. So kind of, don't get down on yourself that you're not there. If you want to be there next year, then be there next year. And use this time now to kind of get one leg up on everybody else that's going to be there, because we're going to be super duper busy, and you guys are going to actually have that focus 1 week without Lindsay Matway or Bonnie Engel or whoever doing their Facebook game. So this is the week for you guys to kind of step it up and, don't get down on yourselves for not being there. Everything I think most is going to be live streamed. So once I know the link, I'll post that in the team page and you can watch it all from home. So that would be really good too. Thanks, Amanda. This was absolutely, I would say, one of our best team calls. So
thanks.
We'll have to have you on very soon. Something else. All right, everyone. Have a great night.
All right. Thanks.
Bye. See you at Summit.
All right. See ya. See you later this week.
See you later.